Welcome to Live from Center Stage. Tonight's guest, we have Thea Hopkins and Kenny Seltzer. Yes, I had it. I know I had it. It was in my brain somewhere. Yeah, tonight's been an interesting night.
It's been great. Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Well, I was thinking about the worldly events.
The worldly events. Oh no, not so great.
But it's so nice that we got to hear you.
Yeah.
Music is a healer.
It is. I agree with that.
We've
100%.
been healed.
Yeah.
I feel healed tonight. At least it was a nice thing to get our minds off things.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But
Prayers out for all those people.
Yeah. But you do write some interesting music about events and politics and
I do.
global events.
I do.
Global warming. There was
Yeah.
that song tonight that I heard for the first time in Mississippi, or
Mississippi River, Mississippi Town. Yeah.
yes. How do your songs come to you?
I usually start writing. Sometimes writing lyrics, and sometimes it'll happen together, with melody. But a lot of times I'll start writing lyrics and then pick up the guitar. But it just depends. There's no set way that they come together or happen.
I want to know a little about your background. How did music show up in your life? I know a little of this, but
Well, Andy, it's a long story. No, I started off actually playing violin and viola when I was a kid, and then I got away from that when I was 14, because I really actually didn't think it was cool. It was really not. I felt like a super nerd as it was. Never mind tugging a little violin case around with me all the time. And so
I did Suzuki.
Did you really?
Yeah. But I couldn't jump from the notes. I could I could hear it and memorize the fingering.
Right.
But then when you had to read notes, it was like the leap.
Yep.
And that's what they hope, that children can just leap. But I didn't make the leap.
Well,
But I love music and I'm a
yes,
music
obviously.
lover.
Yes, obviously, yeah.
I complete the process with ears.
Yeah,
But yeah, so it must have been, you must have taken the leap.
I did. I took a leap, and then and I always wrote. I started writing poetry when I was a little kid, basically too, and so then I ended up picking up the guitar, in my 20s, and in learning how to play, after getting over the initial fear of what is this strange instrument I have in front of me, and
With frets.
Which frets and all this, and so so that's kind of the way it developed, and.
Did you have a supportive family? Was it a supportive
My
musical family?
No music. My mother loved musicals, and she had all these musicals of Camelot and The King and I and all of those, Carousel and
the theater pieces.
So that was there. And my mother's was a commercial artist, so she was always super supportive of the arts, and so anything artistic. She was always encouraging and supportive of me doing that, and so, she loved it. My mother is still she's such a huge supporter of things, so it's.
So it was a nurturing environment. You had a nurturing.
I did. Yes, I did. She was very nurturing. Yes, I think it was. Yes, it was fairly nurturing. I think that in that respect, sure.
And you grew up around here, Somerville, or?
No, I grew up actually in Shrewsbury, in this little town, which kind of Newspaper Wings is influenced by that, and then spending my summers on Martha's Vineyard at my grandfather's.
You talk about family here.
Yeah.
Is it Wampanoag?
Yeah, Wampanoag, yeah. So I'm a member of the Wampanoag tribe.
Does that inform your music?
It does.
The storytelling.
The storytelling, but also Medicine Line it's a song about, a person who lives on an Indian reservation, and the impact of loss of culture. And Medicine Line is actually, the Sioux describe the border between the United States and Canada as Medicine Line. So when I heard that, I was like, oh. And they perceived it, they saw that as the safe area, because the cavalry couldn't follow them. So that's what influenced that song, and it was about somebody who'd lost their culture and kind of has lost their way too. But trying to find it, and then Medicine Line, where you can go and nobody can follow you, nothing bad can follow you. So that's influenced by that, yeah.
You also mentioned you are part Iroquois?
Yes. Nottoway. Yes, on my father's side, it's Nottoway. It's Nottoway and Iroquois. They're from Virginia, and so my mother Wampanoag. So yeah, so there's a lot of that influence there, definitely.
You also sing about Chickasaw,
Yes.
and since I'm from Memphis,
Ah,
we're talking
Chickasaw.
about
I know. There's a
the
Chickasaw.
Indians that lived on
Yeah.
the river.
But that was not influenced
About it,
by
no,
them.
it's a
No,
different song.
it was just kind of
It's
that.
about a murder, I think. Or
It is. It's kind of like a an old murder ballad type of So it just my mind wanders and creates these different scenarios.
But you do have a way of writing that is very storytelling.
Yes. Yeah. I
And
would agree.
I imagine it goes along with oral tradition of many, many peoples.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. Let's talk about your buddy here.
Yeah.
You brought
Kenny Seltzer.
Kenny Seltzer.
I did.
Talk a little about your background, Kenny. I don't know much about you.
No one does.
I couldn't research you.
He's a mystery.
You're a mystery man.
I'm originally from New York City. Grew up in New York City. Been playing for 50 years now.
50 years.
Into rock and roll right away. Playing almost immediately, and it's been keeping me on the path, regardless of what goes on around the world.
How did you find Kenny? Or how did you find?
Well, we
Thea.
actually met years ago, and focusing in Cambridge. I don't know how long ago, 2000 maybe.
Maybe 2000. Yeah.
And then we, I guess, lost touch. And then you came to an open mic a few times. I saw you.
I did the feature out at
At Loma.
Loma, right.
And we just started talking, and somehow stopped playing. I
Yeah.
don't really know, how those things happen.
It was just magic.
Well, it was like, it was in the back of my mind
Yeah.
after we had chatted, and I thought, I want to get together and play with him. And so this summer, I played at the Outside the Box. We played at the Outside the Box festival in Boston, and so that was
Yeah.
the first gig, and it went really well. And played with an upright bass player there too. And then I was over in England, and then so I got back, and I thought, well, I want to be playing with him again. And so we just did a little kind of like a dress rehearsal gig at a club in Somerville about a month ago. And then, and so we did this today. So
Let's talk about your tours in England. You
Yeah.
had 3 of them?
yes, yeah.
Talk about some of your experiences.
Well, let's say I was most recently over there in August, and then for a few weeks and came
Was
back.
this the tour of Lilac?
Well, last year I was really pushing Lilac, but I'm kind of building on the tours. And so this was great, though. I had a lot of fun. I played a couple of festivals there, and it was really fun. I, playing at these kind of bigger stages, and just I love it over there.
And how are the audiences?
Great. Audiences are
Very
great.
appreciative.
Yeah.
And we talked about culturally that maybe England or Europe is more geared up for festivals and arts out in the parks, and
They're really, they are festival crazy in England. I mean, it's insane. The festivals, they start, basically they're all year round, but June, July, and August, and part of September. Everywhere you go, there's festivals, and they're like, everybody comes together. It's like a communal events, and families, and all ages, and
you mentioned the pub life. I love
Yeah,
going to the
yeah.
Irish pub. And
oh yeah, and
it's
it's like it's a
definitely-
really neighborhood thing. So it's not like people just kind of go down there, and it feels very safe, and it's not like a strange energy, man. It's just like people just kind of come together and hang out and talk, and it's
groovy.
It's very groovy. Yes, it is. It's very happening, and so so it's great. I love England. I just love it there. So
And what I've read, they love you too, and all the reviews I read.
well, I've gotten some nice reviews.
You have,
It was very
saw
nice
the
of them.
bio, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the progression of your records.
Okay.
The Mighty, the Bird, the
Birds of Mystery.
Birds of Mystery. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that was in
The Birds of-
2001. That was my first one, and I was, kind of, feeling things out and seeing what could happen, But it's something I wanted to do. I kind of put it. I was working basically a corporate job, and then the company downsized, and then I thought about going to law school because I, took the these LSATs, and I thought, I don't know if I want to do this, and then I just decided, no, I really, really want to do the music, and we'll just see what happens. I mean, just, that's that, you know, and the nagging feeling went away, you know, that feeling where you wake up in the morning knowing, really feeling that this isn't really what you should be doing, you know what I mean? So
It's taking the road untaken, or the...
yeah, you know, and so that's what happened. And then, you know, right before that first CD came out, Peter, Paul, and Mary heard the song, and then
There was a contest, or?
there was a contest that Noel Paulstucki had through his public. I think he might still have it through his Public Domain Foundation. And I sent the song in, and it wasn't one of the winners, and it wasn't even one of the finalists. But you know, several months after the contest ended, I get this email, and it's all in lowercase letters, and it says, "Hi, I'm the tall, balding guy in the middle of Peter, Paul, and Mary, and we love your song. We've already arranged it. You know, can we perform it?" And
Wow.
so I just sat there, just totally stunned. You know, it was like, it's like really just felt totally surreal. I saved the email, of course, and so they ended up, you know, performing it, and I got to see them perform it live, and it was wonderful. And they recorded it for their last studio album in 2004, and then they recorded it again in 2010 with the Prague Symphony Orchestra. And you know, I was very honored by the fact that, you know, Mary selected all the songs for that last album.
She passed away not too.
Yeah, and she wanted that song included. So I'm, you know, very touched by the fact that she thought that much of it. And so yeah,
So that song's on the first album, and then Chickasaw, it's also on that album.
right.
You had two kind of different versions.
Right, I had two different versions because I was trying to
Flavors.
conflate, you know, two different issues, but I decided not to do that, and I knew that Chickasaw was going to get more airplay and promotion than the first one did, so I wanted to have it on there too.
Which brings us up to this
Yes,
record.
yes.
Yeah, and they all have a different vibe. Can you talk about how the records have kind of evolved, how your style or...
Well, it's kind of more, it went from kind of definitely, I would say, kind of folky into more
Rootsier?
Americana, rootsier sound, and this had more electric guitar on it, you know.
This is definitely more...
Yeah, but I'm very happy with the way, you know, it came out.
Jumping.
It is jumping, yes,
Jumps.
it is. And
My Like Sky especially.
yeah. And you know, it's an evolution, you know. You just try to go with what feels right at the time, you know, musically.
Which brings me to Might Have Stayed in Memphis.
Yes.
I'm from Memphis.
Yes.
And we have a connection.
We do. It's amazing.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's a small world.
It really is. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It really
And your
is.
song actually makes me homesick when I hear it, because
Aw.
I wish I was still in Memphis at times. But we have Nancy Apple. We're
We
going to
do
give her a
have-
shout out.
Yes. Hey, Nancy Apple.
Yes.
Yay.
That is so cool.
It is really, really.
You never know who you're going to meet.
You just don't know.
And music does connect.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. And you know, your writing is really beautiful, by
Oh,
the way.
thank you.
And I notice a lot of your writing has rivers and stars and moon. You bring a lot of natural elements.
It's because I
Into
grew
your
up in the
music.
country, you know, and so where I grew up in Shrewsbury, it was all woods, and it was beautiful. There was a horse farm down the road, and she was my babysitter, so when she would babysit me, she would bring one of the horses up into our yard, and I would be able to ride it around in my yard. I mean, that's how much space there was, and it was gorgeous.
Living on the Cape's like that too. I'm sure
Yeah.
children who grow up here are definitely, you know, ingrained into the nature, and they respect it a lot, having to deal with the ocean and the...
Yeah, there's something
weather.
you do feel a connection to it, you know, when you grow up around it, you know. Yeah.
Did you grow up in the wilds?
Well, I grew up in New York City, but
Oh, no, that's right.
Every
You're
summer
a
I
city
went to camp
boy.
in New Hampshire,
Oh.
upstate New York, so I was able to fall in love with lakes and be around that part of thing, which I didn't experience in Brooklyn. Tree does grow in Brooklyn, but I lived other places earlier. But it's basically a city. I hear street lights. Bzzz. That's what I hear. Not really, but that's a memory. Yeah.
The
You don't get
buzzing
that in the
street
country.
lights.
Right, exactly.
The buzzing locusts.
Playing
Right.
ball in the streets using the manholes as home plate and second base. That's my experience.
It's a different kind of earthiness. You do get connected to cities. Like Memphis is definitely, there's a soul to it I miss. And there's certain music I hear where I hear the soul coming out that reminds me of the city. Like Booker T and the MGs, when you hear that. And Al Green, I hear
Oh, that's a specific sound. You
It
know,
really
it really is. It's like,
a place.
It is a place, yeah, absolutely.
And you do that. You concoct these stories that take you to that place.
Oh,
It's a gift.
thank you. Yeah.
So what's next?
Well, what's next is, more gigs for, to the rest, maybe a couple more gigs for
Do you have a tour?
2015. Right now, I'm focusing on doing pre-production for a new CD, and I'm going to be doing some things that are on the board, and
Any teasers? Any names?
no, I'm not going to.
any
I'm not going to
flair?
say anything about it yet.
Any concepts?
It's coming together, but I have some things I have to finalize, and then I'll be able to talk about them more, openly. But there's some really amazing things that are kind of happening, but I have to wait until they get finalized.
So you would consider calling your music Americana, rootsy?
Yeah, I would say so.
I often ask the artist, how do you describe your music?
I would say rootsy Americana, folk.
But you almost don't want to codify it or put it in a box?
Singer-songwriter,
Because there's so many
acoustic.
different ways you can go with Americana, singer-songwriter.
Well, this day, so many things fall under the umbrella of Americana that it's really...
Yeah, right.
It's safe to say Americana because you can go country, you can go
Right.
folk, you can go...
Right, kind of bluesy,
Freak
rootsy,
classical,
right,
or-
it's all
It's all of it to me. There's folk, definitely folk in it, and there's definitely country Americana.
right. Yeah, that's true
You know?
too. Yeah.
There's Americana.
I heard a lot of finger picking. And I heard a
Yeah.
lot
Exactly,
I
right.
heard a lot of different things coming from you. So I don't know where you studied. Where did you study? I know you have Berkeley in the back. of
I
your
actually
pocket.
graduated Berkeley a long time ago.
You both
also,
are
But I
Berkeley.
had been playing 13 years before I went to Berkeley.
Ah.
So I was improvising and I was playing everything before I even went there. I went older. I didn't go right out of high school.
Do you have any heroes that you looked up to or emulated? Or
I was into the Dead for a long time.
so Jerry and
Dylan, John Lennon, Beatles. Grew up in the Beatles.
I think you both share Dylan actually.
Yeah, I like Dylan. I
And
like
Joni Mitchell.
Joni Mitchell. I love Leonard Cohen. Any of the
I cheated a little. The guy transmission. The transmission interview. It's hard to hear an interview and not want to
right.
duplicate an interview.
I grew up in everything. I listened to everything. I mean, New York City when I was growing up, it was Motown, a lot of Motown, from the Supremes, Four Tops, to rock and rock, like Cream and early Chicago, and didn't hear folk at all except at camp, except for Peter, Paul, and Mary, maybe Joan Baez, and of course Dylan. And then I just started getting into everything. I would listen to Miles Davis and then the Beach Boys right after that. That's what I would do.
There are some similarities.
Well, I see
Good
humanity-
vibrations, some
Right.
orchestral, and some jazzy chords.
Yeah,
There's-
that's true. Yeah.
I'm sure Brian Wilson was doing the
Sophisticated.
augmented sevenths and
Yeah.
It was great. I listened to all
Great.
that
He
stuff.
was
maybe not as
fantastic.
loose as Miles Davis, but
Yeah.
I got into English, some English stuff at the early Fairport Convention. I was very much into them for a while with Richard Thompson. Those days.
I love Richard
Oh,
Thompson.
he's fantastic.
And,
Especially with Linda too, when they were together.
Yeah, they were great. Yeah.
Pour Down Like Silver,
I
Shoot Out the Lights.
I actually saw them.
The
with
divorce
Richard
record.
Thompson.
I think that
Yes.
was the divorce. Burn on a Wire, or what is it? You saw them.
I saw the Fairport Convention with Richard Thompson.
You did?
Yeah.
What's the motorcycle song? Then '68.
Yeah. St. Vincent, Lightning.
Yeah.
Legion Leaf was a great album. So I was into everything. I've been doing folk acoustic stuff for the last 25 years. So I got into folk music by just being around it, and then listening to what other people are listening to.
So when you collaborate, is it just an organic process? Like, okay, I'm going to fill in here. I'm going to compliment you. I'm going to. How do you communicate like how you wanted to put this together? Like,
Well, Kenny's a wonderful musician because he listens.
do you give him the recording and
Well,
you
Yeah.
you add flavor and pick it out, or?
Well, I listen to it and I listen to what other people do, and then I just see what I can do in the context and what instrument I'm playing. You know, I'm not playing electric guitar in this version of it. Yet, right? And I'm into listening and composing or orchestrating while I'm doing it. I hear what she's playing, and then I try to.
I always get that wrong. Is it transposing or composing or
Well,
something
composing.
else? Composing.
It's transposing is changing keys. Let's say.
Right, right.
So,
My unmusical mind.
So
I don't have music theory.
I listen to the voicing she's doing, and then I learn that, and then I just see if I can complement it. And sometimes it's quick, and sometimes I'm stumbling, and sometimes I.
But we actually have not rehearsed that much. I mean, considering the fact that we've rehearsed, maybe 5 times?
Right. Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, that's not, it's coming together very kind of quickly.
Rehearsing on the
you know?
job.
Yeah, so.
Well, music's an interesting thing. Like when I listen to you, I'm probably a little younger than your generation. I'm 51, born in '64, so I didn't quite get into Bob Dylan. I did get into Joni later on, but I did hear things like Odetta and Joan Baez and Judy Collins. Those are things I think I heard from my family's record collection. But then I also picked up things like they're newer singers. I don't know if you know Rihanna Gibson and Valerie June.
Rihanna
and
Giddens, right? Yeah.
So some of the newer folky people, soulful folk. So I heard some of that, and I also heard the Patty Cathcart. Do you know Tuck and Patty?
Tuck and Patty.
You ever heard Tuck and
yeah,
Patty?
yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah.
It's almost jazzy folk. It's a very nice collaboration.
They're really good.
So I was hearing a lot of different things. And yeah, so I guess we all have our different experiences, how we pick up or how we hear music. So yeah. So yeah, that was my experience.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful what what you're writing and the story writing. I was thinking of things I grew up listening to. Billy Joel McAllister jump off the Tallahatchie Bridge.
Right.
Do you remember those stories?
Right.
Or the lights, the night that the lights went out in Georgia.
Bobby Gentry.
Yeah, Bobby Gentry. Those story songs were a big part of what people listen to in pop music.
Yeah, it's gotten away from that.
Yeah.
You know.
But yeah, I'm not saying your music is like that, because those
Right.
were definitely poppy and
Right.
commercial.
But I mean, the whole idea of storytelling songs, I think, has gotten away. Yeah.
Definitely, and how
Yeah.
people tell or communicate music. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it. It was wonderful hearing you
Oh,
tonight.
thank you.
And thank you for coming. I apologize for the roller derby girls being loud behind us.
Oh no, I didn't.
How do we know this is not a tape?
You didn't hear
They're
them?
playing.
That's right. It could be just people laughing and.
I heard them at the beginning, and then after a while, tuned it out.
They're not usually this loud.
Oh. Well, they're having a good time.
Yeah.
It's nice
They
weather
are.
still, so
It was
they're out and
positive.
enjoying
They
it.
were off the street.
Yeah.
They are knocking into each other.
Yeah. It's nice that they can do this, you know, just be outside and it's, you know, safe.
Well, they're not outside. They're actually in a.
Oh, okay.
That's
They're
where
in
that
a.
big
They have an
building is.
indoor rink
Oh, I
or
didn't
an
see it
indoor
back
flat
there.
track.
Oh, I didn't see it back there. Yeah, nice.
Well, any shout outs? Any things like websites or?
TheaHopkins.com. That's where you can go to find out, you know, where I'll be playing, and you have a website.
KennySeltzer.com, SELCER, Facebook, YouTube, Reverb
Right.
Nation, all over the place.
That's right. You have your own record. You have a
I have
record.
a bunch of CDs. Yeah. My first one came out in 2001 too, first solo one. But I didn't have Katie Creels on mine.
Well, thank you for coming.
Well, thank
your
you.
music is a gift. It
Well,
really is to get to hear you play.
Well, it was a pleasure to
in
be here
such an
tonight, you
intimate-
know. It's wonderful.